Hey guys, welcome to the Biracial Brothers podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris Davis. Thank you so much for watching. I just want to take a moment to recognize any new or first-time viewers.
Yes.
Appreciate
Thank
y'all.
y'all.
Thanks for checking us out.
God bless you.
And for any loyal returning viewers and listeners, you guys are so awesome. We really do, you guys make it. So
Y'all keep the faith strong.
absolutely. Be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell along with for the notifications so you don't miss any of these awesome new episodes and content that we're throwing out here.
Because it's all great.
All great. Everyone's a banger. Also, be sure to hit us up on Facebook and Instagram at the Biracial Brothers Podcast. And finally, there are some listener support links in the description, so be sure to hit those up as well.
Don't be stingy.
Paperwork done. A1, day one, Lee Davis. What's going on, Lee?
I'm great.
I'm super good.
How are you today?
I'm super awesome.
It's going to be another magnificent one.
Yeah. All right, and now one of my favorite people of all time, Bookie. What's up, Boo?
What it is, what it ain't.
What is gonna be?
It's going to be 30 plus minutes of awesomeness.
Fire.
We never make it 30. It's always 30 plus, but
Yeah, man. We say 30, but we give you more than what you pay for.
yeah.
A
So,
little bonus.
So it's because it's
A
free.
little tip.
so you're welcome.
Going to stick a little
sorry.
tip in there.
So this, topic is a little bit more serious
Yeah.
than you would, we would have done the last couple of times here.
Mhm.
As you could tell by the name of the title that you clicked on, is The World Ready for Jesus' Return? Now, we're going to take a couple of different angles towards this. Some, biblical, some secular, and some just silly, because I feel like it,
we can't make it that way.
we can make it silly. So just what does your gut say? Like, do you think the world as of right now would be ready for Jesus coming back?
Hell no.
No, to be honest with you. But I feel like it just depends on, like, how does Jesus come back?
Well, in the book, it's supposed to come from the sky. Like, what do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he just going to repeat what he did the first time? Be born, then live 30 years, and after 30...
I don't think
Jesus.
he's read the book.
Yeah, are we freestyling Revelations here?
I get that. I understand he comes down.
I don't think he's read the book.
I understand he comes down, and then the whole world can see him, whatever. And
Yeah.
like, well, how does the whole world see him? Well, everybody's got cameras and phones now. Everybody can see everything now. That's how you see it. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, like, would you view that as Jesus if he just came down from the sky?
I feel like there would be like no.
That's going to be, you're not going to question that. Like, you ain't seen that before.
But is it just Jesus himself, just the person, or is he in a chariot?
I feel like he'll have like a host, like all the no, isn't like the rapture where people everybody goes up and they meet him in heaven, and then he comes down and he puts it's like 1,000-year reign, and then the judgment happens. I feel like maybe we should have researched
Yeah.
this.
We should have read the Bible again.
Yeah, sounds like to me some people should have went to church. What are y'all doing on Sundays?
Yeah, I would say
Football.
I don't know if the world is ready for. Obviously, the world's not going to be ready for Jesus' return because that's the whole point. He's
done said that they wouldn't be.
Yeah, he's
That's why
going to come as a
always
thief
tried
in the
to-
night.
Yeah, that's why he wants you to get ready.
Yeah, live like you're ready to die. Like,
Yeah,
live
'cause
like
if
he's
you
gonna
know
come.
he's coming in 2023, well,
I
2022,
got
I better
you
get
then.
right.
Yeah, 2021, you're going to live like hell, and then you're just going to fucking ball out.
But that's the premise of him coming back, and the fact that you never know when you're going to die either.
Mhm.
It's the same
Same thing. Live
man.
right.
Yeah, man.
Do
what
good.
you're supposed to, and you'll be all right.
So I think a more interesting angle on this is, so like the rapture. Let's just take it for granted that the rapture is going to happen, right? In a twinkling of an eye, all the Christians are gone. How does the people who left handle that?
Aliens.
Like
I've
in game,
seen-
They say that aliens came and abducted them, or
See,
they'll explain it away somehow.
I've seen like 2 movies, like the Left Behind movies, one, and like they're like some like kind of like horror movie, whatever. But it's
Avengers Endgame.
no, but it's like bam. But no, it's it's like a scary movie about the rapture happening, whatever. And it's like they went like through detail, like the beasts that come out in the rapture is like they actually made what they look like come out. But like Left Behind, when the rapture happens, everybody just disappears. Like you just vanish.
I feel like it's an HBO show about that too, like The Leftovers or something. It's about that. I
But
never watched it, but
with the other one is like just your soul leaves, like your body. You're just standing there, and everybody just passes out.
Nigga,
he's like
just
body
dropped.
snatchers.
He just dropped.
And it's like, what is wrong? Like,
I don't know what would be more scary, right?
Absent from the body, present with the Lord, so the body ain't got to go. So I can see that.
Well, I've never thought about it like that because in my mind, from what I've always like, everybody goes like you physically leave, right?
Well, how do
Now,
people who've been cremated leave?
I mean, dust. You know, what I'm saying, just draws you back up together.
That would fuck people up.
But
what
my
if you said dust? What if the rapture is a nuclear war and that's everybody turns into dust?
well, I mean, so you know, the Antichrist. I was watching a video this morning trying to get ready for this. And I was like, I haven't thought about this in a long time. But he was like, you know, this Antichrist is supposed to bring fire from heaven. So from an ancient perspective, they would think missiles are fire from heaven. Where now in 2020, you would know that's just a missile being shot down. So I think that's a pretty interesting one. But really, what kind of messed me up is what you just said. Is I never thought about it. What would be more scary is if everybody disappears, or if like people in mass just lose their soul and fall over,
just drop out.
Yeah. But it could also be like what is it, EPMD or electromagnetic pulse?
EMP.
Yeah, EMP. To where, you know what I'm saying, a whole swath of the world are lost to you. You see what I'm saying? Like, if an EMP hit, man, you wouldn't know shit about anything except right here in your little corner.
You got in your four walls.
I mean,
I feel like it would be easier to explain away if people lost their souls, or not lost their souls, but their souls went to heaven and their body stayed here and they fell over. They could explain that away to disease or something. Now, it'd be hard to explain, but if everybody just boom, fell over, whereas if everybody just disappeared, that'd be hard to explain. Like, where the fuck did everybody go?
Like, and you can't deny it happened because it happened to everybody.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Not everybody, but everywhere it
all
happened.
the Christians. So let's say 25% of the world's Christian, like, give or take.
Yeah.
If a quarter of the world either A, falls over dead,
or just disappears,
or just disappears, like, that's going to be hard for governments to explain away.
Them niggas be like, I seen that movie.
Yeah, like, that's
It's like I had people ask me about, like, all right, what about the people who never heard of Jesus? How do they get to heaven and the rapture and all this and that? It's like, it's more about like your heart,
general,
like,
it's
just your heart. Like, are
even
you a good person?
Said,
or you a bad person?
He said, even the people who don't know him, because you generally know whether you're being good.
So
or not.
One of the caveats in Matthew is, or that the good news will be preached into all the nations. So that kind of takes
corners of the world.
Yeah,
so
that
everybody
takes care of
knows.
That. Now he says the wars and rumors of wars is going to be leading up to it, but that's birth pains. That's not it yet.
Yeah.
What's the money is when the word is preached all over the nation, which, you know what I'm saying, with
it's hard to do
satellites and all that stuff. So technically that's already kind of happened. But here's the thing that I think is this is when I would start worrying about it, is whenever they build that third temple, the Solomon's temple.
Yeah.
Because in Daniel, I believe it is where he's like, he sits in the holiest of holies and defiles himself or something like that. He basically claims he's God in the temple, the Antichrist. Well, that can't happen yet because there's not the building yet, unless, of course, it's just a metaphor for Satan ruling people's bodies.
Yeah.
Like, that's a temple.
And you can see that too.
So I don't know, but if they do start building, like, if the Sanhedrin come together and start building that temple in Jerusalem, then I'm like, well, I guess we're
time to go to church.
I start clocking it. Yeah, it's interesting.
No, that's definitely.
I don't know if y'all know this, but like, you know, in Genesis, he says, look at the stars and the moons for signs, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Revelation, it talks about the rapture and all this and all that, and like the signs that's going to show of the rapture. Well, what if I told you that one of them signs happened, like the virgin and the red dragon? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
No, like in the news, like recently, or just like in general.
No, it's astrology, whatever. Like if you read Revelations and it talks about the virgin being the mother of the Savior, and then the red dragons waiting to destroy her and trying to eat it, this and that. And once the kids,
I think I've heard of this before. It's like certain how the planets aligned and like
that's exactly so. Right after the eclipse, like in 17 or 18, whatever that happened, like all over America, like the next day, only in Israel can you see it. But the constellation Virgo was laying down, and like in the prophecy, it's like the moon's at her feet, and the sun's at her shoulders, and it's like, what the hell does all this mean? But if you look at it, constellation Virgo was laying down. The moon was right here by her shoulders. The sun was at her feet, and she's wearing a crown of 12 jewels, whatever, 9 jewels. Well, you had constellation Leo right here. That's 9 stars, but you had Venus, Mercury, and Venus, Mercury, and Mars all right there. So it made up the 9 or 12, whatever it was. But she's pregnant. Well, Jupiter literally went into orbit in her belly for 9 months. And then after the 9 month, it exited between her legs.
And only like a retrograde or something. Interesting. No, I mean, I had not heard that. That's pretty deep. I'll have to Google that.
Yeah.
I'll have to Google that one and put it up just to make sure you're not talking out of your ass. I mean, maybe.
Look it up.
You never know.
But you can only see it in Israel.
Know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's definitely, and we were talking about this a couple episodes ago about like signs and like astrology and like I'm an Aquarius, he's Capricorn, you're Scorpio. Our personalities kind of track with that. So I'm definitely, would not be surprised if, this stars. And also another thing you got to think of, I try to think of, is a lot of the Bible is all metaphor and allegory.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be taken literal.
Yeah.
Like, do I believe that Jonah was in the belly of a whale and like lived and just was riding around the ocean? No, I don't believe that. But is it a metaphor for something?
Yeah.
I can definitely see that there's a metaphor. I just don't believe. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be hard for a man to ride around in the belly of a whale.
Well, like, come on. Let's be adults here.
Yeah, not be digested.
Yeah.
Man, you also got to think it wasn't written like by first hand. You know what I mean? It wasn't written like till generations and generations later.
It's verbal traditions. But I do believe that there are valuable spiritual lessons.
The lesson never changed.
Yeah.
But I feel like the legend grew of each story.
Yeah. Like whenever the Israelites went around Jericho 7 times and they blew the horn, and then the walls came tumbling down. Well, I believe that represents the chakras. 7 chakras, and then you reach your pineal gland, the 7th chakra, and then you reach enlightenment, and then all the walls, all the things that you fight against come down because you're now enlightened.
Yeah,
like that's a more apt, like it's a spiritual lesson
as opposed to them walking around.
Yeah, they blew some magic horn and the walls came down. Like,
magic horn.
I think it's more. Like I
that
said,
would make to me that personally makes more sense.
Yeah, where they tell the story to impart spiritual knowledge.
Yeah. Now, the only way that could physically happen, and if it's not a story and that did physically happen, that horn is some type of technology. It's not a horn.
Vibrate or something.
Yeah, where I'm more apt because I've felt my chakras.
Yeah,
I felt vibrations is within my own body. I'm more apt to believe that it's a metaphor for chakra alignment than some magic horn that vibrates at a certain level to knock some walls down. Like
the never-ending story.
Yeah, that's why I like the Bible is like the greatest book in esoterics ever written. Because it has so many great things.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
It's a mystery book.
Like read the Bible 3 times in a day. Like just read it read the same, not the whole Bible.
Man, challenge.
Like read the same.
Going after Jesus hard.
Like read the same chapter in the morning, read it in the afternoon, and read it at night. Whatever. Like before you eat, after somebody's pissed you off, your mindset determines what you take out of what you read.
Yeah.
Whatever. So it's like you can read it you can read it 100 times and get 100 different things out of it. So that's like one, like you're saying, one of the greatest things about it.
Yeah, no, they really good preachers can preach a whole series of sermons on one verse.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
get 3 months out of this one, baby.
Yeah, because you got to go through, well, what does this mean in the Greek? What does this mean in the Hebrew? Then you got the stories telling.
How could you explain that in today's times?
Yeah, versus their cultural perspective and like all this other stuff. So I really like I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus, but I'm also not a silly person that I'm like, oh, everything is like I try
Noah
to
really
get
ran
this
around with a boat.
way.
Like Noah rode around with a boat with two of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, like technically that's gonna be
Probably
hard to
something to that, but did he build a boat and really?
Well, I think, the historical flood, I think, did happen because, like, in
Everywhere says
different
it.
cultures has different flood stories in their traditions. So, I mean, you can't have a story in Israel match up with the
Well, that's
story in
just
South
like
America.
pyramids. There's pyramids all over the world.
Yeah.
They're not just in Egypt.
Nigga, there's a
So how can
pyramid
they-
behind the Hollywood sign. Did y'all know that? In California, a couple miles, like if you could stand on the H in Hollywood and look directly behind it, you can see a pyramid.
Is it an ancient pyramid or just some motherfuckers made in the 30s?
Like it's like an ancient
Paramount.
pyramid. Like
Paramount? Yeah, are they making a movie?
no, like
Is
it's
it
like
part
it's
of
more of a
Cleopatra?
mound. It's more of a mound than a pyramid now, but like it's technically a pyramid.
What trips me out is, like, if you ever go down a rabbit hole of, like, ancient sacred geometry, and then you learn about, like, Stonehenge and
Easter Island.
Easter Island. Yeah, Easter Island really fucks you up, dude, because you're like, where all these heads come from? Like, what the fuck?
And a lot of them are buried.
It's like a
Island
language
area.
nobody knows or can understand.
But just like in Peru or something, like in big, like 6 feet round balls that have been just
Yeah,
laid all over
just
the
lay
fucking
around. Like,
Peru's
what?
got like the giant heads too. It's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Dude, I watched this thing on this morning about Joe Rogan, and he had some guy on there. He was making a movie, a documentary, but he went and interviewed these African kids, and from like 1997, this happened. A spaceship came down, aliens came down at this school in Zimbabwe, and like telepathically talked to these kids, and then bounced. And nobody's ever fucking heard of this before. So, or people did, they were talking about it, but they dismissed it and blah, blah. So he tracked all these kids down from all over the world, and they came back together, and they all told the fucking same story 20 years later. That happened.
Wow.
Because
there's certain shit that if you got 20 different, or how many ever different people 20 years later, and they tell the exact same thing, the odds of that is so slim that it had to have happened.
Well, they said that
opposed
the
to-
point was that the aliens were making too, because they communicated telepathically to like certain students. Like not everybody heard the same thing, but the people who did interact with them said that they were warning about technology. They were warning humanity.
I literally watched something last night.
I thought it was really interesting.
It's
No,
like
that's
it's
fine.
Hangar One on Netflix.
Yeah, well, I watched that. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like, and the one I was talking about is like the technology boom that we had
Mhm.
in the last 70, 80 years. And like in 41, there was a crash in like Greensboro, some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then the one right after Roswell, like a year after Roswell, that's when we invent the transmitter and everything we got
Everything
now.
blows up. You got to think, like, there may or may not been very many alien sightings, but after we got nuclear bombs, that's when, like, I think
'cause then
alien,
you
like, it
can-
set off an alarm in the universe. To,
'Cause
like, hey, these
now they
motherfuckers
can
are-
destroy
Yeah,
shit.
they're playing with serious shit here. So, I don't really know how this ties in with aliens and Jesus, but I feel like
okay, if Jesus came down
Yeah, you'd feel like it was an alien.
from the sky,
mhm.
you would not think he was an alien at first. Upon further
Yeah, 'cause he's
investigation,
not going to be the blue-haired white.
because that's like
Yeah.
I asked
the
Star,
blue-eyed white dude.
like I asked Star like random questions all the time.
Jesus wasn't white.
He looked more Israeli than anything.
He looked more like Osama
Like
bin
I
Laden.
asked Star, I was like, if
True.
God came down in a spaceship, what we call a spaceship,
Yeah.
and stepped out, and he was like, "I'm God," would you believe it?
Probably not.
But you would believe a man coming out the sky saying, "I'm Jesus."
If he's riding on a flying horse,
Yeah, a flaming horse.
all
with,
white lights, and there's a whole host of like angels behind him that I can actually see, I'd be like, all right, that's
If
God.
if an
Lord.
angel showed up right beside you, what technically is that?
Scared.
Yeah. If
Shit.
you ever notice, and I think we talked about this, is that every time in the Bible an angel appears to a human, the first thing they always say is, do not be afraid.
Don't fear. Fear not.
Because you're like, what the, what the hell?
Shitting on myself.
But think about like this thing that's obviously bigger than you. It's glowing. It may or may not have like wings, whatever. But it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
out of
not-
nowhere. Yeah, you can be
by
like, "Ugh."
technical terms in the dictionary, what alien means, not from this land, nigga.
Yeah.
But also too, man, if that's what an alien. That's why you hear people who have seen God or been near to God, like he's nothing but light, and he, you know, what I'm saying, like. There was somebody in the Bible, man, that pretty much like Moses turned white-headed and all kind of.
Oh yeah,
shit,
Moses.
You
He
know what I'm
went.
saying?
He spent a lot of time on Mount Sinai, and he ate dinner with God, and he was up there for like a week or so, a month. Then he came down, and people freaked out because his face was glowing white because he spent time with God, and he had to wear a shroud over his face because because of God's glory rubbed off on him.
Yeah, before he
freaking
could
all the
even-
Israelites out. Like what
Before
the
he
fuck?
can even go up there, he had to build a fucking fence or a gate around the mountain before he can go up there to keep people from being curious to want to go up there because
Yeah.
not everybody can
Yeah,
take it.
because if you came on that mountain, then you died immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, and think about that, man. And you talking about this is an alien. So if God Himself showed Himself to you, we're just so not worthy that you know.
Well, who was it that called the glory of God through passing? Was it Moses? Who, because he got tucked away in a corner of a mountain, and he was like, "I will not show you my face, but I will let you see my glory." And he was like, he saw the glory passing. Because you can't look on the face of God and live. So you
Yeah.
got to
Suck all
see
your
a
life
piece-
out.
So he caught a piece of it. I forget who it was. It may have been Abraham or Moses. It was one of those old timers.
One of them old timers.
But I feel like the glory of God is really like you can't look upon God and
No.
live. So if you come down and you're, you know what I'm
All
saying,
right.
an alien. then
Going
like,
off of that, I literally watched this episode last night. It's like episode 3 or 4. Look it up yourself if you don't believe me. Literally, they're talking about this motherfucker came down. It's like around Peru, whatever.
it's like,
This
we're not talking
nigga-
about God.
Yeah, we're talking about
This
God.
nigga came down.
But like I'm talking about like a spaceship had done come down.
Okay, an alien, not the
An
Lord.
alien had come out, and this motherfucker is like walking around the town. Is injured.
man.
He's walking around the town. A sheriff saw it. It's like, well, shit, something's hurt. I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm taking it to the hospital. Well, it touched his arm. Okay, and that bare arm.
Mm.
Well, the military's already at the hospital. They take everything and they take it all away. Nobody knows anything that happens
Yeah.
from it. But legit, 2 weeks later, he got a rash from where the alien touched his arm, and then he died within 2 days.
Called radiation poison.
Yeah.
Like, and once they did an autopsy on
Microbes or
him,
something.
he had all type of diseases and viruses, like full blown, that takes years and years to develop.
Yeah.
At 23, he had like 18 different diseases and viruses that just infected his body, and it all rooted from his arm.
So I feel like this is kind of where it's a threat, where the military views it as a
Hell
threat,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So if they can do that, let's just take it for a grain of salt and say your episode you watched was completely canon, like
Yeah.
it fucking happened.
Yeah.
So if you can touch people and then they die with all these crazy full blown
wanna
viruses,
know
they
how-
will take that as a threat and they'll kill you. To whereas like the most historical, accounts of aliens has all been benign and curious, and they, they ask you questions. They might butt probe you, but how many butt probes can you do before you like, I get it? You know what I'm
I
saying?
got you.
You know, I'll tell you what you want to know.
Yeah. But like, so most, like the Tic Tac video that the Navy released.
Oh,
that
yeah. Do.
if the aliens wanted to destroy those aircrafts, those F-16s, they probably could have,
yeah,
and
in
they
an
wouldn't have
instant.
done nothing. But the fact that they came down, they kind of probably scanned them, like, oh, okay, this is
Like
where they're
us
at
looking at
now.
a goldfish.
And then they fucking gone. Like,
You're not gonna keep up. So,
yeah.
I mean,
So why? And I guess my point is that I think aliens are more of a
They're intrigued.
Let's
See how they evolve. See what they do.
There's a new documentary on Netflix, Alien Worlds, and it was talking about how if it's the radio satellite in South America, and in 1970 they shot up a message in like mathematical beeping code to where if you play it out, it like shows what people look like. It does like multiples of 10. It's basically exhibiting intelligence here on Earth. But they shot it up once in 1970 at a star system 25,000 light years away. Now, granted, the point the guy was making on TV was, well, if you really wanted to get to let people know that you're here, when you do like one every so often to a difference, is the reason they don't is because they're afraid that if they do,
something's going to
they're
show
going to
up.
come back, and they're treating it as a threat. Whereas if you really contact these, like if you shoot it out to the nearest star, or every fucking star you have, then I think it'd be more apt to actually get. But they're purposely not doing that because they're afraid of what they'll actually find.
Yeah, because you'll find something that's out there. It's like, you don't fuck them up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, why does, okay, this is kind of on the same topic. Why does America need a space force?
For other countries.
Yeah, for other countries. Because they don't want China
to be able to shoot shit down.
Weaponized satellites.
Yeah. You don't want people to be able to weaponize satellites over your country and you not have recourse.
The what's kept the world safe for so long post World War II is mutually assured destruction. To where, we can fight if you want to.
I'm gonna burn this motherfucker
but we'll
down.
all fucking die. So that threat.
Whereas you can make something come over a country itself, eradicate that motherfucker, and then
which I would like. Which is kind of intriguing as far as like Iran getting nuclear weapons. There's a reason no other country has used nuclear weapons since the U.S. because now nuclear weapons are way more powerful than they were at Nagasaki.
They're more proliferant.
Yeah, everybody has them. So you got to think, okay, if Iran gets a nuclear weapon and chooses to use it on us, say,
on Israel,
or on Israel, you have to know that you're fucked.
That's it. That's a life choice you just made. That's a decision.
Like, yes, leadership of Iran, you chose, or North Korea, which I think they have nuclear weapons for a different reason, self-preservation.
Yeah.
But
keep them motherfuckers from coming in there.
Yeah, because America will fucking take over your country. But historically, if you're Iran and you decide you get your lick in with Israel, you take out Israeli city.
It was worth us to smite them. Yeah, kind of deal.
Because you got to think, as soon as you get that one bomb off, America and its allies are going to nuke you.
It's over.
Nuke every one of your cities, and with leadership being first.
Yeah, there won't be nothing but countryside left.
Yes. So I don't really let them get nuclear weapons if they want to. I mean,
like I said, that's a choice. That's a life decision you just made.
Because you got your lick in. It's like you're fighting. It's like me with my fighting skill going against a world-class fighter.
Mike Tyson
I punch you. I get my fucking lick in. But you're about to destroy me. Like, this is going to be not
break
good.
Break your fucking face.
This is not going to be good. So, like, I don't really understand, like, nuclear proliferation.
Right.
Like, who cares? Like, do it if you want to.
But see, that's where I think the world gets more twisted. You'll get leadership in some countries that really they don't care about their own citizens. They don't care about
the world,
anything, man.
Yeah.
And like I said in the Batman movie, some people do want to see the world burn.
Yeah.
Just to watch this motherfucker smolder and be the one to be like, I did that.
We're coming against it here, and I wanted to get this point in about is the world ready for Jesus' returns? Because when I wrote this down, my third eye lit up. Like I started getting tingly in my forehead. So I was like, this might be a good point.
Yeah.
I think Jesus or Jews are the forebearers to Christian in that they were God's people first. So God's Jews, Christians.
Jews,
right?
Gentiles, yeah.
They were persecuted first. Holocaust all throughout history. They've been very persecuted.
Mm-hmm.
So if the world, say the one world government happens, and then all of a sudden that world government is going to turn its back on Christians.
Yeah.
Because it's a historical precedent with Jews.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with because in the end times it's going to say you will be persecuted for my name. You will be, saying all the nations are going to hate you. So, and this is what Jesus says.
Kind of like China does Christians to today.
Yeah. The video I watched this morning, it was when I was getting ready for this. It was it showed a news article of Russia outlawing evangelizing outside of churches. Like, it's there. The hate against evangelicals and Christians are there. I'm not saying it's as there as some of these rednecks will have you believe, but it's there.
Yeah.
So you got to worry. You got to wonder when we get to the time when Jesus actually does come back, like all the birth pains are gone, the raptures, whatever, all the shit is really about to happen. The third temple, we're in tribulation. One world government. There's a precedent for Christians to be treated like the Jews of World War II.
Yeah, they'll be executed for it.
Yeah.
You'll either denounce God then and there and have your head cut off, or
you denounce God
and you cut off from God.
Yeah, so you denounce God, you get to live for a few more years until the judgment comes. Or you say, no, Jesus is my savior, I'm sticking with Jesus, and you get executed as a martyr.
I'm going to take that execution.
You would hope so. You would hope that you're brave enough to be like, okay, I'm going to...
Because it's just like what you said. I can live a few more years and be away from God. I've just sold my seed. I haven't stopped myself from dying. He just bought you a little time. For what? Why did he even buy time? What? God, you know what I'm saying?
Who you're making an enemy of here.
If that's the cost it takes for me, all right. So obviously I didn't pass the first test. In order to get through to you, I'm going to have to pretty much sacrifice myself by saying, yes, I believe in you, I love you,
Yeah.
I would do that in order to get by you.
You think...
Now, on a scale of the world doing that, I highly doubt that.
No.
But Buki...
Yeah.
Buki would.
Yeah, if they dragged us out in the street right now and told us, man,
denounce God
and live, or, claim that he's yours and die right here.
I think that's where it's going.
I ain't got to go to work tomorrow.
Maybe not. And you got to think, and we're looking at it from an American perspective. A lot of this is already happening.
A lot of them are going to denounce, be like, who? No.
A lot of this is already happening in certain Muslim countries, and I'm not picking on Muslims, but I'm saying the extremist Muslims,
well, like I said,
Chinese, Russians, all of these anti-Christian, because there's a spirit. We're not fighting people. We're fighting a spirit. We're fighting a realm. So I really feel like it's interesting to see it play out, because one thing, if you kind of pick apart the Bible, is batting 1,000.
Yeah.
Here or there, and you can twist things. Oh, well, that's happened, or this happened, or well, they did say Jesus or Israel would become a nation again, and well, that happened. And some of these other things have happened.
And see, that's
why it stands to reason that the rest of the shit's gonna come to pass. I mean,
the timeline, who knows?
But as far as are we ready, it's like I ask you.
I think that's a personal question.
If
you as a person are ready, but I've always said you can be a genius as an individual, but the humanity as a whole herd is ignorant.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But it's like, I was going to ask, it's like, I done lost it. Thank you, Lee. But, if you take any random remote event that could be classified as a miracle or act of God, and allow that same thing to play out today, how would you view it?
Oh, people would
probably chalk it up to a scientific anomaly.
Yeah.
If you rock, when Moses was in the desert, he hit the rock and water started gushing out of it. That's a miracle. It'd be hard to explain that away.
But somebody would. I mean,
you get debunkers. You know what I mean?
It was on top of a geyser. It was a fissure inside that rock that just.
Or you could think of it as, well, that's a metaphor for reaching the, saying this enlightened state, and then you have outflowing of living water and all that kind of stuff.
I'll have to send it to you so you could pop it up here so it tells I'm not lying. But there's an actual
gotta keep you honest.
The rock you're talking about, whatever. They actually found a rock that fit the dimensions of it, and there's water erosion from the top of it all down the middle, like where water came from the rock. Like there's no water around from nowhere else, but it's all flowing, and it all starts from the rock.
You know what I'm just sitting here thinking about while you're saying that is that whether you believe, don't believe, whether you're a Christian, atheist, I think being a human being is fucking fascinating.
Oh, it's the greatest. It's probably the greatest experiment ever.
You don't know so much, and what you do know is us just actively right now sitting in this room is mind-boggling. Another thing that I always find interesting is time.
Gone.
Is in the past. That clap that just happened is gone.
See, that wasn't even the same clap.
Yeah, so I think about these like thought experiments every now and then. It's like, man, like life is so whether
that's why it's hard to believe that there's no kind of designer that's sitting back in awe of all this life. We're talking about just us. You're talking about all of life and all the little things that are going on right now.
Yeah,
somebody is sitting, or an entity is sitting back watching that, and aliens and God and whatever, and they are taking it all in. It's the greatest experiment ever.
It's especially from like a Christian perspective of like, because if you think, we're having a blast on this podcast.
Yeah, we are.
I've had a blast in my life, but
speak for yourself.
There are infinite amount of people who will never hear of me, who will never know me.
Oh, man.
But I'm living my life, and everything that happens to me in my life is fucking important.
Yeah.
Right.
But other people don't care.
They give a fuck less.
Doesn't matter.
Do you care?
Humbling.
Do you care about the guy you heard died on the news last night? The guy ran over down the street? Do you care about him?
I didn't even hear about it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Which is very humbling. So, I mean, I guess to wrap it up, because we're over, are people ready for death? You'd have to ask that question yourself.
Yeah, you'd have to ask an individual.
But I hope so. And if not, even if
you
we
should
die,
be, because you are more closer to it than you're not at all times,
Yeah,
whether
at all
God's
times.
coming back or not.
Yeah, we're born with the knowledge of death.
We are living by grace on
which
grace.
is kind of creepy if you think about it.
You think the world would be a better place if we was like animals with no knowledge of our death?
because then we'd be more in our nature.
Nah, we'd
be more just to do what we fucking felt at that moment.
Yeah.
Fuck
Well, you got to
the
think,
consequences.
and this is chimpanzees are, besides us, the fucking worst primate to their people. They beat their own women, whereas some certain other ape classes solve conflicts through sex. It just all depends on like what you're doing and how your society or your group deals with itself. Now, humans are far more advanced than these other creatures, so
But still just the same. They'll beat their woman, or they'll
exactly.
have sex to solve a problem.
yeah. So I don't know. That's
start problems just to have sex. So hell,
yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But guys, that's our time. Thank you. This is a really interesting conversation. I don't know if we learned anything, but it was really a good.
Get you something to chew on.
Yeah, something to chew on.
Think about it.
Thank you so much, guys. Like, subscribe,
Please.
and as always, guys, do what?
Be mixed.
Bye.